Hi, welcome to another video discussion in data analytics. This is Miss Rena, and for this week, we are going to discuss the different methods of finding the measure of central tendency. These are mean, median, and mode. We are also going to discuss their differences and applications. So let's start. In your module, you will find there the learning outcomes. So please read this part on your own na lang. And we are going to proceed now with the learning guide questions. So please take note of the 3 learning guide questions that we have here because these might be included in the recitation. This is the first question. Why is it important to summarize data using measures of central tendency? Next, what are the differences between the measures of central tendency? And finally, why is it important to use the appropriate measure of central tendency in summarizing data? Okay, so let's start with our introduction. In our previous lessons, we learned that data can be derived both from populations or samples. And we can represent data using tables and graphs. Ito yung mga diniscuss natin na FDT, RFDT, histogram, bar charts, and pie charts. So another useful technique in data representation is the use of measures. So in this course, Data Analytics, we will discuss how to get different measures of central tendency, and also we are going to discuss how to find measures of dispersion. In this module, dun muna tayo sa measure of central tendency. So measures found by using all the data values in the population are called parameters. So please take note of this term. Pag ang source mo ng data ay population, lahat ng computed values dyan are called parameters. Mean, median, mode, standard deviation, range, coefficient of variation, variance. So all of them are called parameters. And if your measures are obtained from samples, then we call them statistics. Okay? So hence, the average of the sales from a sample of representatives is a statistic. And the average of sales obtained from the entire population is a parameter. Okay? Okay. So now, what is a measure of central tendency? So, ang measure of central tendency, it is also referred to as the measure of central location or simply the measure of center. So, hinahanap lang natin yung gitna. So, there are 3 methods on finding the center. We are going to find out all about them later. And also, a measure of central tendency is a value that can represent the whole data set. So what are the different methods of finding the measure of central tendency? So there are 3. We have finding the mean, finding the median, and finding the mode. Let's start with the mean. So what does the mean mean? And how do we find it? So this is also known as the average. We often use averages. So for example, kailangan natin ng ranking of honor. So ang ginagawa natin, naghahanap tayo ng average. Isa pa, para ma-identify kung sino yung mga dean's lister, we have to compute GWA. So we also employ the idea of averages there. And generally, we use mean in finding out what is normal or typical. It is used in quantitative types of data. So you have to take note of this, ha? This is used in quantitative types of data. Pag qualitative, imposible mo na yan magamitan ng average or makuhanan ng average. Okay? So to find the mean, we can use manual computation using the formula below, or we can instantly compute for it using Google Sheet or Excel. So let's take a look at this example. So this is the table of the grades of 2 students competing for first honor rank. So, paano natin mahahanap kung sino yung deserving na maging first honor sa kanila? So, we are going to find the average of the 2 students, student A and student B. Yung mga gusto pong mag-manual dyan, hindi ko na siya ipapakita sa video. Pero ito yung formula na pwede nyong gamitin. So, i-add nyo lang lahat ng observation at i-divide nyo lang sa number of observation. For example, ito si student A. If you want to get his or her average, just add all the observation, 94 plus 93 plus 95 plus 89 plus 95, and then divide it by the number of observations. In our case, it is the number of subjects. So, divide the sum of the grade of student A by 5 because derived siya from 5 subjects lang. Okay? Okay. Now, dito tayo magfo-focus sa step number 2, using spreadsheets like Excel or Google Sheet. So, this is step 1. Encode your data in Excel or spreadsheet. So, para madali, mag-view tayo ng windows side by side. I prepared here a blank spreadsheet. So, pangalanan natin siya. This is for the measures of central tendency. Now, let's compute for the mean. So, sabi, encode your data in Excel or spreadsheet. So, encode natin tong nasa table na to. Okay, fast forward tayo. Na-encode na natin lahat ng data sa table natin. So, these are all the observations that we have. For student A, ang mga grades niya ay 94, 93, 95, 89, and 95 for the subjects English, Science, Math, Filipino, and Social Studies. For student B naman, ang grades niya ay 96, 90, 97, 89, and 94. So, para makita natin na maayos, ibobold ko lang yung mga headers ng columns and rows. Okay? Okay, punta tayo sa step number 2. Markahan ko lang to, tapos na tayo sa step 1, ha? So, sa step number 2, select the cell where you want to put the mean. So, say for example, gusto natin ilagay yung mean dito, sa cell B8. So, kapag nagbabasa tayo ng location ng cell, inuuna natin yung letter, yung column, tapos susunod yung row. So, zoom in ko para mas kita nyo, ha? Yan. So, dito ko siya gusto ilagay sa B8. Lagyan ko lang dito ng marker. This is where I want to put the mean. So, this is where I want to put the mean of student A, and this is where I want to put the mean of student B. So, dun muna tayo sa mean ni student A. So, paano natin mahahanap yung mean or average ni student A? Punta tayo sa step number 3. So, tapos na tayo sa step 2, ha? Nakapag-choose na tayo ng gusto nating lalagyan ng average. Yun lang naman ang sinasabi ni step 2. So, sa step 3, on cell B8, you have to input the formula equal, average, and then open parenthesis. So, dun sa mga gagamit po ng Google Sheet, ganun din naman po sa Excel, if you input the symbol equal, medyo decisive si Google Sheet at saka assuming din siya. So, ipe-predict niya kung ano ba yung gusto mong makuha. So, dito, probably, magkakaroon na kayo ng equal na, after ng equal na symbol, lalabas na kaagad yung word na average, open parenthesis, and then i-highlight na rin niya yung gusto mong makuha. If hindi to nangyari sa inyo, you can just follow the steps written in your module. So, just manually type average. Ayan. Kahit maliit lang or naka-lowercase, okay lang yon. Hindi naman kailangan na capital letter lahat. Pag nag-i-input ka ng formula, as long as tama yung word na tinatype mo, kahit uppercase yan or lowercase, okay lang yon. So, average, open parenthesis. And then, dito tayo sa step number 4. Select the grades of student A from all the subjects. That is, from English to Social Studies. And then close the formula using the parentheses. So sabi ko nga sa inyo, kung hindi kayo nag-arrive dito sa suggestion ni Google Sheet, pwede namang i-manual nyo siya. So select nyo lang yung from the first observation up to the last kay student A. So you will end up with average, open parenthesis, B2, colon, B6. Okay? Tapos, i-enclose nyo lang siya with a right hand parenthesis. Ayan. So, meron tayong left parenthesis dito, tsaka right parenthesis. So, naka-close na yung ating equation or formula. So, pag nakuha nyo to, just press enter. Okay. So, ito lang yon. Step 5. Press enter. You should get the value 93.2. So, check nga natin kung 93.2 nga yung nakuha natin. Yes, 93.2 yung nakuha natin. Okay, so the average of student A is 93.2. Good. Now, to get the mean grade of student B, just copy the formula in B8 and paste it to C8. So, may shortcut tayo. So, pwedeng ito, i-copy mo na lang siya, copy, tapos paste mo na lang siya dito. So, ang gagawin nito, this is not always the case ha, na parehong-pareho sila ng average. Nagkataon lang dun sa given ko na value. So, kapag pinis mo yung formula, i-move lang din niya yung expression mo. So, imbes na ang kukunan niya ng average ay lahat na nasa column na B, ang kukunan niya naman ng average ay yung nasa column na C, from the second row to the sixth row. Ayan. Bigay tayo ng isang example. Halimbawa, ginawa ko siyang 75 lang dito. Para lang makita nyo ha, this is just for the sake of giving an example na hindi talaga yan laging mag-equal pagka ikinapi mo. Halimbawa, babaguhin ko yung grade niya sa social studies. Ginawa kong 75. Ayan, pasang-awa siya. Pag ito, kinapi ko, tapos pinost ko dito, okay, ang average na lang is 89.4. Since we manipulated the value here, instead of 94, ginawa natin siyang 75. Okay? Okay. So, balik ko na muna siya sa 94. Ayan. So, dito ang mean nila, parehas, 93.2. Supposedly sa module niya, dapat papagawa ko tong activity pero pinakita ko na rin. Okay, let's check your progress. What is the mean grade of student B? So, since pinakita na natin siya sa video, 93.2. So, parehas lang sila. Ngayon magtatanong, ma'am, di ba ang problema natin, maghahanap ka tayo ng first honor? Paano natin malalaman? Parehas nga silang 93.2. Actually, the answer here will be determined pagdating pa natin sa module number 7. Yon. So, tandaan nyo tong example na to kasi mahalaga to. Malalaman nyo kung sino yung ma-honor kay student A at student B pagdating na module number 7. Okay, so stay tuned for that. Ayan. So, dito na tayo. Punta na tayo dito sa challenge. So, itong challenge na to, I left this as your activity. So, this is the situation. Sama to sa recitation, gagawin itong recitation. A researcher wants to determine the number of times college students dine out at a restaurant in a week. Below is the data he collected from the respondents. So, ito yung data set natin. 112, 213, 136, 441, 12. Tapos may isang estudyante na sinabi niya 200 times siyang kumakain sa restaurant in a week. Okay, so these are my questions. Para po to sa recitation later. What do you notice from the data? And what is going to be the average using the formula for the mean? Okay. Dito po tayo. Yan. Tandaan nyo kasi medyo madidiscuss ko yung sagot dito. Pag didiscuss natin ng median. So, listen carefully. Be attentive. So, dito tayo. Take note. Mean is not reliable measure of central tendency in the presence of outliers. So, pag sinabi po nating outliers, these are extremely high or extremely small number compared with the other data points. So, tingnan natin itong nasa challenge natin. If you will take notice, 1, 1, 2, 2, 1, 3, 1, 3, 6, 4, 4, 1, 1, 2, yung mga numbers na yan, hindi sila masyadong nagkakalayo or nagkakaiba-iba, di ba? Maliit lang yung difference nila from one another. But, if you look at 200, grabe, ang layo niya sa Pinakamababa na 1 at pinakamataas na 6. Di ba? So, itong 200, tawag natin sa kanya outlier. Kasi it is an extremely high value compared with the other data points. Ito yung gagawin. If you have outliers, such as the example here in the challenge, that is 200, wag mong gagamitin ang mean. Do not use the mean. We can opt with the second measure of central tendency, which is the median. Okay? So, pinakuha ko lang sa inyo dito kung ano ang mean, pero kapag ka po may 200, wag nyo po siyang gagamitin. Okay, another solution. So, kapag ka po meron kang outlier, tapos gusto mo pa rin ipilit na kumuha ng average, okay lang naman. Pero tatanggalin mo sa data set si 200. Okay? So, you can still use the average, but you have to remove the outlier. So, you will remove 200. Instead of having, ilan to? 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. Instead of having 15 respondents, you will only have 14 respondents because you will omit 200 if you want to use the mean or average. I hope I made it clear. Ilang beses ko siya inulit. So, moving on, sabi nga natin kung may outlier, ang suggested, gamitin si median. Okay, so ano naman si median and how do we find it? So, si median, gitnang-gitna. So, kung si average, I mean, si median naman, middle value. So, it is the suggested measure of central tendency when there are outliers in the dataset. And this is used in quantitative types of data. Sorry na na putol ko. This should be used in quantitative types of data. At meron siyang isang lamang kay mean pa. Aside from having the ability to solve or find the middle value in the existence of outlier, ang isa pang advantage niya, pwede mo siyang gamitin sa ordinal types of data. Again, ano yung ordinal? Yung pwede mong ihanay from lowest to highest. So, kung natatandaan nyo pa, yung lagi natin ginagamit, the filling up of contact tracing form, di ba ordinal yon? We have like, may, dislike. O kaya, dislike, may, like. Kaya yun gamitan ng median. Kahit na qualitative siya, kasi ordinal naman yon. Okay, now let's look at the challenge again. So, a researcher wants to determine the average number of times college students dine out at a restaurant in a week. Below is the data he collected from the respondents. May nilagay ako dito na manual computation, pero sabi ko nga, since iniiwasan natin to, I just placed it here so you can have an option. But in this video discussion, I will only focus on how to find the median using Excel or Google Sheet. Okay? Okay, so you can read this on your own method 1, manual computation. So, very detailed naman yung discussion ko dito. Dito tayo sa method number 2, using spreadsheet, Excel o kaya Google Sheet. So, lagay tayo ng isa pang sheet dito. Yan, may sheet 2 na ako. Tingin po kayo dito sa left side. Nandito na po tayo ulit sa Google Sheet. Okay. Kopyahin natin yung data. So, yung data natin dito sa first column, isulat natin yung respondents. So, meron tayong respondents na 15. So, 1, 2, 3. Drag ko lang siya pababa. Ayan. Meron tayong 15 na respondents. Ngayon, ano yung ilalagay natin dito sa B? So, sa B, ito naman yung number of times the respondents dine out in a week. So, nakaka-capstock ako. Number of times the respondents dine out in a week. Okay. Ayusin ko lang yung presentation natin. I am going to use wrap text here. So, text wrapping, ayan. Para mas nababasa natin siya ng maayos. Ayan. And of course, ibobold ko siya para meron tayong marker. Balikan ko lang yung data. Ito yung data natin. So, encode natin siya. We have 112, 112, and then ito ay 213. On the second column, 213. Ay, mali. Sorry, 213. From 7 to the 9th, we have 136. So, 136. And then 441. 441. And then, yung 13th respondent to 15th respondent, ang sagot nila ay 1, 2, at 200. Okay. Ngayon, na buo na natin yung data sheet natin, punta na tayo sa step number 2. So, kaparehas lang din siya ng ginawa natin halos sa average. So, you have to choose a cell and input the formula equal, median, open, parenthesis. So, halimbawa, gusto ko ilagay ay dito sa B17. Dito ko gusto ilagay si median. So, pamandaan muna natin. This is where the median will be located. Ito. Gusto nyo, lagyan nyo rin siya ng kulay. Ako ginagawa ko yun para hindi ako malito. Ayan. So, dito ko gusto ilagay yung median sa kulay yellow. So, what am I going to input? So, based on our module, i-input mo lang equal, median, open parenthesis. So, equal, median. So, sabi ko nga kahit maliliit na letters ang gamitin, parehas pa rin naman yung magiging computation. Pakita ko yung proof ha. Maliliit na letters yung ginamit ko. Equal, median. And then, open parenthesis. So, ang maganda kay Google Sheet, very assuming siya, magpe-predict siya kung ano ba yung gusto mong kunin. So, kapag may lumabas na sa inyo dito, median B2 to B16, pwede click nyo na lang to, double click nyo. Ayun, lumabas na kaagad si 2. Pero pag di yan lumabas, i-input nyo yung formula, mano-mano. Sige, input ko yung formula mano-mano ha. Equal, median, open parenthesis. And then, ayan, complete the formula by selecting the observations. In our example, the observations are in B2 to B16. So, mula dito sa 1 hanggang dito sa 200. So, select lang natin mula 1 to 200. So, we have median, open parenthesis B2, colon B16. Tapos, isara lang natin siya with a right-hand parenthesis. And then, just press enter. So, the median is 2. So, kung ano yung nakuha nyo sa mano-mano, yun lang din ang makukuha nyo sa Google Sheet. Okay? Okay. I hope that was clear. Okay. Now, doon naman tayo kay Tama. Ayan. Doon naman tayo kay mode. Ayan. Tapos na tayo dito kay mean. Sa sheet 1, lagyan ko nga siya ng pangalan. Ito yung sample natin kay mean. Sheet 2, rename. Ito yung para sa kay median. So, dito tayo sa dulo. Rename. Ito naman yung para kay mode. Okay. So, para kay mode, based on frequency of occurrence of a data point siya. So, para ka lang din nag-RFDT, FDT. So, kung ano yung pinakamalamang na lumabas, yun ang mode. Or kung alin yung pinakamaraming beses lumabas, yun ang mode. So, the data with the highest number of occurrence, so appears most frequently. And si mode, hindi siya katulad ni mean at ni median na isa lang yung makukuha mong measure. Si mode, pwede ka makakuha ng more than one mode. Halimbawa, 5 beses lumabas yung dalawang observation. So, dalawa sila na mode. And, ang maganda kay mode, yung hindi kayang gawin ni mean at ni median, kayang gawin ni mode. Alin yon? So, can be used for both quantitative and qualitative data. Pa may mag-contest, ma'am, di ba si median, kaya rin naman niya ang qualitative ordinal? Yes, tama ka. kaya ni median ang qualitative ordinal. Pero si mode, kaya niya quantitative at qualitative, both nominal and ordinal. Si median, hindi niya yan kaya. Hindi kaya ni median mag-nominal. Yung mga based on characteristics lang. For example, gender. Hindi niya kayang kunan ng mode yun. Hindi niya kayang kunan ng measure of central tendency yun. Pero si mode, kaya niya. Okay, balik tayo. So, paano mag-identify ng mode? So, by visual inspection or tallying, kung magmamanual ka, look for the observation with the highest occurrence. So, kung meron kang RFDT or FDT, hanapin mo lang kung alin ang pinakamataas ang frequency, yun ang mode mo. Pero kung gusto mo mag-spreadsheet, okay. So, gamitin natin ito, itong data natin for median. Yan. Copy ko na lang siya dito. So, kung ano yung data natin for median, yun din ang hahanapan natin ng mode. Lagay natin dito sa A17, yung marker natin na mode. Lagyan ko lang dito ng kulay pink naman. Kulay pink. Yan. Dito sa kulay pink, dito natin target ilagay ang mode. So, paano natin siya makukuha? Follow lang natin yung mga ginawa natin noong una. Yan. Encode the data. Choose a location kung saan mo siya gustong ilagay. And then, input the formula equal mode. And then, open parenthesis. Click the first observation. Highlight up to the last. So, halos parehas lang. Identical lang yung mga ginagawa natin from the mean, median, and mode. So, equal, mode, open parenthesis, the first observation up to the last, B2 colon B16, and then close it with another parenthesis. And then, just click or hit enter. Okay, ang mode po natin here is 1. Bakit? Ilang beses ba lumabas ang 1? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So, 6 beses lumabas ang 1. Ilang beses lumabas ang 2? 1, 2, 3. Lagay tayo dito ng frequency, ha? Number of times. Ba't di ko na lang i-copy, di ba? Copy ko na lang siya dito. Yan. Number of times the respondents dine out in a week. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. Lagyan na natin 5, 6, tapos 200. Ito ay frequency. Para lang siyang gumagawa ng ungrouped frequency. So, frequency, ilang beses lumabas ang 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So, 5 times lumabas ang hindi pala. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 times pala lumabas ang 1. Ang 2, ilang beses? 1, 2, 3. Tatlong beses lumabas ang 3. May tatlong nagsagot na 2 times daw silang kumakain sa restaurant. Ilang beses lumabas ang 3? So, yung tatlong beses kumakain sa restaurant in a week. 1, 2. May dalawang respondent na nagsabing kumakain sila sa restaurant twice or thrice a week. 4. Ayan, may dalawang respondents na nagsabi 4 times silang kumakain sa restaurant. 5, wala. Walang sumagot ng 5. At 6, merong isa. At 200, meron ding isa. So, itali natin. Dapat ang total nito ay 15. So, 15 ba? Ba't 17 to? Sobra yata ako. Ito, itong 4. Ito nga lang pala to. Sorry. Ayan. So, 15. Meron tayong 15 respondents all in all. So, yung mga magmamanual tallying po, ganito yung gagawin nyo. Gagawa kayo ng frequency distribution table. Tapos, hahanapin nyo kung ano yung pinaka-frequent nag-occur or pinakamataas ang frequency. Gawin natin dito kulay pink. Ayan. So, ito yung may pinaka maraming beses na nag-occur, yung 1. So, the mode is 1. Mahirap kapag ka nagmamano-mano. So, as much as possible, aralin nyo kung paano ginagawa yung sa Google Sheet. Okay? Okay. Now, meron ako mga ibibigay sa recitation mamaya. Kasi itong example natin sa median tsaka sa mode, Hindi ba natin siya nasa-solve in terms of the mean? Ayan. So, ipapa-recitation ko yun kasi ko-compare natin yung mga values. Now, I have a final note here. So, make sure to use the appropriate measure of central tendency in summarizing your data. Using an inappropriate measure of central tendency yields an unreliable summary. So, I hope from this final note, you were able to answer the learning guide questions. Okay? So, balikan nga natin yung learning guide questions before we end this video discussion. Try nating sagutin. So, why is it important to summarize data using measures of central tendency? I hope you know the answer here. Next, what are the differences between the measures of central tendency? Clue po, ang sagot dito ay kung ano yung mga types of data na pwede nilang pag-applyan at kung ano yung limitations nila. So, dito papasok yung idea na yung isang measure of central tendency, ang kaya lang niya, quantitative. Yung isang measure of central tendency, kaya lang niya, quantitative at ordinal. Yung isang measure of central tendency, kaya niya lahat ng klase ng data, quantitative man yan or qualitative. Another difference, kapag ka meron ka outlier, hindi mo pwedeng gamitin yung isang type ng measure of central tendency. So, ano yon? So, yun yung mga dapat nyo isagot sa akin later on sa recitation. Next, why is it important to use the appropriate measure of central tendency in summarizing data? Ayun, yun nandun sa final note, yun ang sagot dito. Okay, so kung nakinig kayo ng maayos dito sa video, kayang-kaya nyong sagutin yung mga tanong dito sa learning guide questions kung kayo man ang tatawagin ko sa recitation. I am looking forward to your answers in recitation. Thank you very much for listening to this entire video and I'll see you soon. Bye! Good night! Ay! Ako lang pala ang night. Okay, bye! See you!